Coming up on today's episode of Airborne, Bombardier CSeries aircraft is back in the air. Investigation into Reno Air Race crash continues, and an alternative fuel update. Welcome to Airborne on Aero-TV. I'm Ashley Hale. Bombardier Commercial Aircraft has confirmed to ANN that the CSeries aircraft resumed flight testing, with flight test vehicle number 2 taking flight on Sunday at Bombardier's facility in Mirabel, Quebec. The flight follows an in-depth review and analysis of the engine-related incident that occurred during stationary ground maintenance testing involving CSeries flight test aircraft number 1 on May 29th. Pratt & Whitney, alongside Bombardier, have taken appropriate measures to address the issue, including the modification of the engine's oil lubrication system. Rob Duar, Vice President, CSeries Aircraft Program, said in part, quote, "The Pratt & Whitney geared turbofan engine has over 10,000 hours of ground and flight testing, and we're confident that it will enter into service meeting or exceeding the fuel burn, emissions, thrust, and noise specifications," end quote. The CSeries aircraft entry into service remains on track for the second half of 2015. The investigation into a crash of a Reno air racer continues. It's confirmed that the airplane in question was the experimental sport class GP5 racer named Sweet Dreams, owned and piloted by Lee Behel. It has been reported by several sources that the aircraft appeared to break up in flight, and that Behel did not survive the crash. No spectators were hurt and none were in danger. The sold GP5 was an original design powered by a highly modified Chevy V8 engine, reported to be producing some 625 horsepower. The aircraft had recently set speed records of 378 miles per hour over 2 different course lengths. Behel was reported to have been the founder of the Reno sport racing class. Reports say he was a retired Air Force pilot and has been a longtime participant in Reno air racing. ANN will keep you posted as more details become available about this tragic accident. After these messages, the FAA has begun testing replacement fuels for 100 low lead. We'll be right back.
Redbird Flight Simulations is dedicated to revolutionizing flight training by designing, manufacturing, and delivering affordable and innovative flight training technologies. Each Redbird device is designed to enhance the training experience for pilots of all levels, from student to ATP. Redbird is quickly becoming the industry standard for flight training. Since Redbird introduced its revolutionary FMX in 2007, colleges, universities, and flight training operations around the world have integrated Redbird products into their curriculum. It's time to discover what Redbird can do for you. Join the migration.
Welcome back. If you'd like to be a supporter of Airborne, Aero-TV, our website, or our podcast, drop an email to jim@aero-news.net. The FAA has selected 4 unleaded fuels for the first phase of testing in its search for a drop-in replacement for 100 low-lead avgas. Tom Patton reports.
The testing will be done at the FAA's William J. Hughes Technical Center. The goal is for government and industry to work together to have a new unleaded fuel that reduces lead emissions for general aviation. Shell and Total with 1 fuel each and Swift Fuels with 2 fuels will now work with the FAA on Phase 1 testing, which will begin this fall and conclude in the fall of 2015. Based on the results of the Phase 1 laboratory and rig testing, the FAA anticipates that 2 or 3 fuels will be selected for Phase 2 engine and aircraft testing. That will lead to standardized qualification and certification data for candidate fuels, along with property and performance data. The entire testing process is expected to conclude in 2018. For Airborne, I'm Tom Patton.
Sometimes it's fun to look back at some of the places we've seen, the pilots we've met, and the planes we've flown here at Aero-TV. Here's one of our favorite Aero-TV classic episodes.
Well, the committee has taken the position that obviously the system has to be paid for, but it has to be done in a fair way. And that means that if you're running a Boeing 747, you don't pay the same amount as if you're running a Cessna.
It's sometimes easy to think that Washington, D.C. has a grudge against general aviation. But maybe you'll feel a little better after watching ANN's Tom Patton interview Congressman Tom Petri. Search Congressman Tom Petri defending aviation on Aero-TV's news channel. The Department of Defense is looking at possible alternative engines for the V-22 Osprey tilt-rotor aircraft in an effort to reduce life cycle cost of the aircraft. It's reported that the Navy said in a statement that, quote, the V-22 program is continually investigating ways to reduce the life cycle cost of the aircraft, end quote. The Department of Defense is reportedly looking at an improved engine that will increase power output and support the V-22's high and hot capabilities. It will also have to be able to be retrofitted into existing aircraft, causing minimal impact to aircraft and operational systems. Currently, Rolls-Royce is the sole supporter of engines for the aircraft. That company says it will develop engine upgrades and reliability improvements that would boost power by 17%. When we come back, we'll tell you the winner of the first 2014 U.S. stop of the Red Bull Air Race Championship. Stay tuned.
ADS-B will be mandatory for most aircraft by 2020 in the United States, but you can benefit from ADS-B today with the Bendix King KT-74 Mode S transponder. The KT-74 meets the global mandates for ADS-B out when attached to a suitable WAAS GPS. Over the past 2 decades, no resource has compiled as much expert-valued information about the sport plane world than the Sport Plane Resource Guide. Over 1,500 pages, hundreds of aircraft, dozens of how-tos and directories. All this and more will be coming to the sport aviation world soon with the new, all-electronic and updatable Sport Plane Resource Guide for your iPad, iPhone, Kindle, tablet, PC, or other electronic devices. Get your order in now. www.sportplane.com.
Welcome back. French pilot Nicholas Ivanov had a flawless run in the Final Four last Sunday at the Texas Motor Speedway, winning the first 2014 U.S. stop of the Red Bull Air Race Championship. Nigel Lamb finished second and Pete McLeod finished third. Ivanov said, quote, "It's really nice to win the race on a great speedway like this. I like the ambiance of a motorsport racetrack like this, and finishing first was much better than I expected," end quote. The race in Fort Worth, where thousands of spectators witnessed the weekend's action, has proven the most exciting stop of the season so far. The next race of the 8-stop championship will be held in Las Vegas on October 11th and 12th, the final stop before the Spielberg season showdown in November. After more than 40 years of service, the Marine Corps retired the aging UH-1N Huey helicopter during a sundown ceremony on August 28th aboard Naval Air Station Joint Reserve Base, New Orleans. The UH-1N Huey is a twin-engine utility helicopter manufactured by Bell Helicopters in 1969. Bell began the delivery of 205 UH-1N helicopters to the Navy and Marine Corps in 1971. For more than 40 years of service, the UH-1N has been operationally employed in Vietnam, Grenada, the Persian Gulf, Afghanistan, and Iraq. The UH-1N flew its last combat flight in 2010 in Afghanistan. The helicopter holds sentimental value for many who attended the final flight. During the ceremony, many shared their personal accounts about the aircraft. The helicopter has been replaced by the new UH-1Y Venom helicopter, which provides dramatically improved capabilities to its predecessor in terms of range, airspeed, payload, survivability, and lethality. Chambly, Georgia's Dekalb-Peachtree Airport will be transformed into a World War II airfield September 27th and 28th, when vintage military aircraft from across the United States descend on the former Navy training base to celebrate the inaugural Atlanta Warbird Weekend. The first ever Atlanta Warbird Weekend is a community effort inspired and led by the Commemorative Air Force Dixie Wing, the Georgia chapter of the largest World War II flying museum in the United States. Over 20 organizations are collaborating to create the event. Educational activities include Warbirds in Review, a World War II veterans meet and greet, and a recreated USAAF 8th Air Force mission briefing delivered by reenactors wearing authentic World War II uniforms and equipment. The highlight of the weekend is Dinner with Eagles, Airmen of the Mighty 8th. Beginning Saturday night at 7 p.m., 5 veterans of the USAAF 8th Air Force will describe their experiences during the aerial bombing campaign over Nazi-occupied Europe. Well, that's our program. Remember to get comprehensive, real-time, 24/7 coverage of the latest aviation and aerospace stories anytime at aero-news.net. Remember, Airborne is streamed 3 times a week and is always online. Join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for a new edition. And remember, there are some huge upgrades coming soon to Airborne. I'm Ashley Hale. Thanks for watching.